Hi everyone! Today's class is about relative clauses. Relative clauses are used to give more information about a noun, and they are often introduced by a relative pronoun. Here you have some examples. The student who is always talking in class is called Alex. In this sentence, the relative clause is who is always talking in class, and is used to give more information about the noun phrase the student. The relative pronoun is who. In this other example, London is the city where I want to live, the relative clause is where I want to live, and the relative pronoun is where. So, the first thing you need to know is that there are a few relative pronouns in English, and that they depend on the noun they refer to. So, in the first example, we use who because it refers to a person. In the second sentence, we use where because it refers to a place. If you're not familiar with them, here you have a list. We use who to refer to people, or whom after prepositions. We use which to refer to things, when to time, where to places, whose to express possession, why to express reason. And then we have that replaces who, which, or when in defining relative clauses. So, now that you know this, have a look at the following sentences. I knew the guy, Gap, bike you bought. What relative pronoun do we have to use here? As it indicates possession, the bike belongs to the guy, we need to use whose. I knew the guy whose bike you bought. In this other example, the subject, Gap I like the most, is English. As it refers to a thing, the subject, we need to use which. The subject, which I like the most, is English. Once that you are familiar with relative pronouns, you need to know that sometimes we can omit them. Have a look at the following examples. The student who broke the window will be punished. Or, the book that you lost was mine. In the first one, who plays an essential role in the sentence because it is the subject of the verb broke. If we omitted it, the clause who broke the window wouldn't have a subject, and you know that subjects are obligatory in English. For that reason, we can't omit it. However, in the second example, that is clearly not the subject of the relative clause, so we can omit it and just say, the book you lost was mine. To sum up, the rule you need to remember is that who, which, and that, and when can be omitted when they are not the subject of the relative clause. If you find it difficult to know if it's the subject or not, don't worry, because as subjects are obligatory in English, it's easy to identify them. If you see that the pronoun is followed by a verb, like in the first sentence, you can't omit it. However, if it's followed by a noun phrase, you probably can. That's a trick that might help you. The next aspect you need to know is that there are two main types of relative clauses, defining and non-defining. Defining relative clauses give essential information to identify the noun they refer to, so the sentence makes no sense without it. For example, that's the house where I grew up. If you just say, that's the house, the sentence would be incomplete. However, non-defining relative clauses give extra information about the noun they refer to, so the sentences make sense without them. Like in the example, Antonio, who is a very smart student, failed the grammar exam. If we just say Antonio failed the grammar exam, the sentence makes sense. You need to bear in mind that there are three rules that you need to follow when using non-defining relative clauses. The first one is that they always go separated by commas. The second one is that the pronoun can never be omitted. And the third one is that can't replace who or which. The next point of this presentation is how to use prepositions with relative clauses. Let's take two sentences and try to join them with a relative pronoun. I talked to a girl yesterday. She was very friendly. We have two different ways to do this. The formal way consists of placing the preposition before the pronoun. As this sentence refers to a person, the pronoun is who, and as we are placing a preposition before it, we need to use whom. So the sentence would be like this. The girl to whom I talked yesterday was very friendly. Another possibility is the informal way, which is far more common in everyday conversation. And what we do is to omit the pronoun when possible and place the preposition after the verb. So, in this case, it would be like this. The girl who I talked to yesterday was very friendly. Or, the girl I talked to yesterday was very friendly. Besides, you also need to bear in mind that if you choose the formal way, you can only place a preposition before which or who, and never before that. So, the sentence, that's the house in that I grew up, is incorrect. You need to say, that's the house in which I grew up. To finish, some people have problems when using what or that. What combines the function of nouns and relative pronouns. It means that which or the things that. For example, what I did was help him with his homework, which is the same as saying the thing that I did was help him with his homework. Or, I have no idea about what happened after I left, which is the same as saying I have no idea about the things that happened after I left. It is a common mistake to use what incorrectly in sentences such as all what I have done is whatever. What can never be used as a relative pronoun after a noun or pronouns like all, everything, nothing, and so on. We have to use that instead. For example, my English teacher looks good in everything he wears. So that's all for today. I hope everything is clear enough. If not, feel free to add comments to ask me any questions you may have. Thanks for watching.